Okay, let's call it to order. It's 6:30. And if we can welcome up Pastor Van Dyke, please, for the invocation. Please rise.
Join with me, if you will. Our God, our Father, as we enter into the Thanksgiving season and we reflect on this year, we realize how blessed we have been. Bless God to be a part of Canyon Lake, and truly a great place to live, to make friends, to enjoy one another, and even to serve together. And we thank you, Father, for the board and the council that you have given to us and for their leadership, and so grateful for their unselfish leadership and allowing us, God, to truly enjoy the very things that allow us to call this home. Pray for your blessing upon them as they deliberate tonight and as they continue to lead us in such an effective way. We thank you for those who will be coming on the council as well. Grateful, Father, that we continue to keep on with the leadership that we have been so blessed with. So we just commit this night to you, and we thank you, and we pray this in your name. Amen.
Please remain standing. Mrs. Martin, would you lead us, please, in the Pledge of Allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I know, this is what happens when I didn't spell it right. I'm so sorry, I was supposed to be careful. I know, my mistake. Sorry. Okay, stepped in on you. Okay, approval of the city council agenda. Oh, roll call first, sorry. Make sure we're all here.
Thank you. Councilmember Bonner.
Present.
Councilmember Aaron
Here.
Councilmember Haggerty.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Green.
Here.
And Mayor Warren.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, now approval of the agenda. Are there any changes? Okay, I have one I'd like to suggest, actually two.
Okay.
I had a conversation with both, while we're at it, we have our two new, it looks so far, we can't say until they tell us on Friday, but two new council members, please stand. Jeremy Smith, Casey Castillo, welcome. But I had a conversation with both of them. We have a couple items on the agenda that I think they'd be more comfortable. I think we'd be more comfortable if we could move those over to January, so that there's a little more time to focus and for them.
Which two?
One is the Animal Friends, the ordinance.
10.1?
Yes, 10.1 and 10.2, please.
Ooh, okay. With regards to 10.2, and Councilmember Eric Hines can speak to this as well. They'd like the first reading of the ordinance done by the end of the year in order to meet their program with the PUC. That all the participating cities need to have the first reading of the ordinance by the end of this year for the 2020 launch. It doesn't preclude it. It doesn't. Yeah, I understand your
The
interpretation.
reason I'm concerned is there have been
Right.
some changes, and some
Right.
of the conditions have changed.
Right, and trust me, and Councilmember Eric Kranz can attest to this as well. All the cities participating are cautiously optimistic. Yeah, so, but by approving the ordinance, it does not bind us to anything. One of the other things in there is the
It
amendment.
doesn't bind us, it doesn't bind us, I'm really concerned about this.
Okay.
This is not it's not a light matter, which is precisely
Right.
why we need time to discuss this.
So,
I'm asking that it get moved. I understand that this is, I don't know that it's a requirement that how much of a requirement is it to get this done by the end of the year?
that's what they've asked us for, correct?
Asking for it,
They're
having to have.
that's what they're asking for as part of their plan.
But they asked
To
if
hit-
we could go into that first reading.
Yes.
Which?
We have somebody here.
First reading.
But
Be able to-
explain.
Yes, Barbara, if you could comment on that, why,
Are we good on animal control?
yes, we're gonna move that
yes.
one.
That's
So,
one.
Can I ask the council, would anybody mind if we, first let's take care of that because they have another place to go.
Well, I don't think we can approve it because it says in paragraph 9 that on November 7th and December 5th, 2018, basically we we gave the public a chance to comment. So I don't think we can pass it until we give,
Okay, hold on. Let's go one at a time. I'm trying to get the animal friends because they have another engagement. So
Oh,
let's
okay.
first go back to that, 10.1.
We've got that moved so that.
Okay, so
if you'd
10.1
like to
is moved.
Go to Menifee, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll let Trent know when we have it rescheduled.
Yes.
And then, speaking with the city attorney with regards to 10.2, we could put it on for the December meeting, which would still meet the requirement, I believe.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. Barbara Swear, Deputy Executive Director of Operations at Western Riverside Council of Governments. The requirement for at least the first reading of the ordinance is required by the California Public Utilities Commission when we're submitting our implementation plan. It states that the ordinances at least have to have the first reading done by the end of the year for us to submit. For us to submit by January 1st of 2018 allows for us to pursue a 2020 launch. So that's where the end of the year comes in.
So the December 1st meeting would still work?
That would still work.
Okay, so can we push it over? All right, guys, we're pushing that one over to 10.2 will be pushed over to December 5th, I think is the, okay. Okay,
And we're happy to meet with any of the new council members or anyone who'd like to discuss
yeah, I
it.
think that's probably a good idea.
We can certainly set some meetings up and coordinate with Aaron.
Okay. Okay, so do we need a motion and a second to move those?
I make a motion to move.
I second.
Okay, yes, we do. All in favor?
Quick.
Aye. Okay.
We're good.
Thank you. Okay, we move on to special presentations and proclamations. Jim Randall is here because there's a birthday in the house and he's off having fun. So instead of Matt being here,
Yeah, it's not my birthday. Yeah. Thank you, Mayor Warren, City Council. The Chamber held its 26th annual Parade of Frights, October 27th at the Town Center. And I'd like to take a moment to thank all our sponsors. We had ABC Bounce, Advantage Flooring, Berkshire Hathaway, Blue Water Realty, Canyon Mattress, Coldwell Banker, CR&R, JDI Dance, Lake Elsinore Casino, Lakefront Family Dentistry, Pepe's, Platinum Plumbing, and Southern California Edison. Also with the city, I'd like to thank the city and the 50 Treasure Map sponsors and everyone that came out and enjoyed that day. I want to thank the Parade of Frights MC, Mike Schroyer, at Good Time Entertainment, ABC Bounce for bringing the jumpers and the games for the kids to play. And I want to thank Councilman Larry Green and his wife Sparrow Green for manning the first day booth for the event. That was very nice of you, Larry. And thank the Friday Flyer for all the publicity and promotion weeks prior to that. We're coming up on Small Business Saturday, which is the Saturday after Thanksgiving. And I can't talk too much about it because it all kind of happened today. We're going to have as I understand, the city tree lighting that evening. We're going to have a hayride for the kids. There is going to be a scavenger hunt and stories by Mrs. Claus. Santa Claus, from what I understand, is going to show up the tree lighting on the hay wagon. So anyhow, it's going to be a full day of activities going on. It's all still formulating. I got 3 emails today and I've read 2 of them so far. So, and one thing with our community, as small as we are, I would hope that Small Business Saturday would be 12 months out of the year. Really support our people that are here to provide service for us. Also, we're in January 26th, 23rd Annual Community Awards. And the installation dinner will be on the 26th at the Lodge. And the applications for outstanding Canyon Lake volunteer, citizen organization, youth, chamber member, business. Those will be available, I believe there's gonna be a copy of them in the Friday flyer, Pack Rapid Post and at the chamber office. And the deadline on that is December 28th. The time for the gala, I'm not sure yet. It's usually, Larry, usually starts at 6, dinner at 7, then awards 8 o'clock or so. So, anyhow, thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. And we would like to have a presentation. Larry, are we starting with a video? Oh, okay.
We'll do that while Larry.
While Larry is up, you're on.
Okay. It's blank. It's coming. I think you guys will probably recognize some of these things, but I'm not sure. I'm not in it.
Well, it's
Here it comes.
faint. Do we need the lights on?
Maybe you need to kill the lights.
That's better.
Here we go. Okay. He's doing it. He's got the gadget. What's so good is I can't stand it. Yeah. There's no jingles back Well, can anybody sing? Okay, I can dance, but I don't. Oh, here we go. We're getting close. Now, who can recognize that? For those who don't know, they have published a book about Canyon Lake. The original founders of Canyon Lake, what it was called Railroad Canyon many years ago. And I don't know what it was called when it was just.
Can we get you on the mic? So that we're
Is that better?
That's better.
Better. Anyway, tonight, we would like to honor, which we would consider the founders of our community that were here many, many years prior to it even being thought about. One is a reservoir, but two, as a wonderful little place we call a gym here at Canyon Lake. We have to thank you, not only for you having the patience and the time to put something together, but also to be able to display it in a museum form in the city of Menifee. Menifee has got a museum. Dee Walker is one of their curators, and a docent. I don't know the difference, curator, docent, but she works there. And we have a little corner of their museum that is dedicated to Canyon Lake. So all those who are out there in our wonderful TV land, if you haven't seen our community or bought one of their books, it gives you a good perspective of where our community came from, how it was built, and a little bit of where we are today. So we're here tonight to honor you two, and most folks don't realize that the restaurant at the lodge is named Eleanor's. Well, this is the person that was named after. So for those that need a history lesson, they've got more knowledge than I'll ever have of this place. But we want to thank you from the city of Canyon Lake and our community of what you've done to preserve our history. So if you would come forward, please. We have a presentation we'd like to give you, and I'll move off the mic. And of course, you guys if you have some words you would like to say, please come forward. There you go. Go ahead.
Well, thank you. This is quite an honor. I like history, and it's nice to know where you came from because it helps you go towards the future. And and Don and I have enjoyed all this. It's not like we got up one morning and there was 5,000 lots around us. We were the only people here originally. But it's been great. It's gradual and we've gotten used to it, and we're still country folks at heart.
Okay, so, certificate of appreciation. Oh, whoops. See all those good fish? They're still here. Okay, this is to Don and Eleanor Martin for a certificate of appreciation for being our lifelong, I can't read it, commitment and dedication as the founding residents of Canyon Lake. And we want to thank you so much.
Yes. Okay, ready? Don't blink. One more. Don't blink. 1, 2, 3.
Do you want me to press the seal?
Yeah. One more element.
Let the rest of it.
Oh, the seal, okay. Yeah.
Don, you're on. We are standing in front of Eleanor and I just sign.
Hasn't changed at all.
We're all getting We bounce over here? There you go, there you go. That's right. Want to sit close?
Okay. When I say 3, don't blink. 1, 2, 3. Oh, we're looking down just a little bit. There was a glare. Yeah. Okay, look. When I say 3, don't blink. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
I was just told by our librarian right upstairs that they have a copy of the book and a copy of the CD that goes with it. DVD, sorry. And what was the card on it?
Well, we have your business card because we were told that's where they can get additional copies.
Oh, okay. So if you happen to have your children in the, library area, you'll see the DVD and the business card from the Menifee Valley Historical Society Museum, which is on Bradley Road in the little old school building, and it's just perfect for Don and Eleanor's presentation.
Very nice, thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Next, we get to introduce Sean Newman. Who is Sean Newman? Been missing in the house, huh? Aaron, do you have an introduction?
I thought Chief Pemberton would be here. Yes, Sean Newman is our new county fire chief.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council members, City Manager. It's an honor for me to be here this evening. I was appointed on August 1st as the 14th Fire Chief for Riverside County and as the CAL FIRE Unit Chief. CAL FIRE has been in partnership with the county and the city since 1921. So that's a relationship that we strive to continue with. I am a third-generation firefighter. My son is also a firefighter, which makes him the fourth, so he works at Paula. A little bit about myself. I've lived in Riverside County my entire life. I grew up in a small town of Glen Avon, over by Rubidoux. My family still lives there. And I actually live over in Riverside City right now. Been in the fire service for 28 years, all throughout Riverside County. My last assignment before leaving for Region was at Lake Elsinore as a battalion chief, and we responded quite often into Canyon Lake and had a good partnership. I left a region office over in Riverside, and I was a fire scope chief. I was the contract county deputy chief, and then they asked me if I would interview for unit chief of Riverside, and I said this was the only place I'd interviewed for, and I was fortunate. Now I'm back over here. So while CAL FIRE and both Riverside County are very large agencies, we represent a lot of folks, we wear a lot of hats. My focus coming back is on the cities. Riverside County is built up of 19 cities and one special services district. So we try to make sure that we have that continuity and that relationship to each and every one of our cities. Each city is, while we're all part of a big regional fire protection program, we each have our own needs, our own demographics, and our level of service that we need. So we try to cater to that. I've been trying to get around to all the cities. Unfortunately, when I took the position, it was trial by fire. We had two of Riverside County's, I won't say the largest, but very large fires that we had to contend with for quite some time. So that delayed any of the stuff that we were trying to work on. But I'm honored to be here, and I'm available for any questions you may have, or at any time. If you need me to come visit or you want to talk to me, I'm always available. And thank you.
Happy to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very good.
If I might, since he's here, we've had a lot of retirements and persons leaving our department. They've put in their time and they're retiring. So we have a lot of vacancies. But one of the things that we're able to do is move Deputy Chief Todd Williams over there into the West Ops position. He has a tremendous amount of experience with the cities and through the west end of the county. So we have moved him over. Thank you.
Very nice. Okay, so it's time for, all right.
Public comments?
Any person wishing to address the city council on any matter within the jurisdiction of the city, whether or not it appears on this agenda, is asked to complete a speaker request form available on the back counter. The completed form is to be submitted to the city clerk prior to an individual being heard by the city council. The city council has adopted a time limitation of 3 minutes per person. If you are commenting on the agenda item, your comments will be heard at the time that particular item is scheduled on the agenda. Please note that if you are addressing the city council on items not on the agenda, the Brown Act does not allow discussion of such items. Therefore, the city council may only do the following: refer the matter to staff, ask for additional information, or request a report back, or give a very limited factual response. I have one card.
Okay,
Joe Kamation.
perfect.
I saw you practicing my name. Good evening, council and council members. I want to thank you for your service, especially the two that will not be here next year, and regrets, but maybe regrets. Anyway, I want to thank you all for your service. I'm here to, again, thank the council for their support in our City Golf Championship. It was the first one we've had in 3 years, and we revived the tournament, and we're really pleased with the results. In large part, the reason the tournament went so well was because of your support and support from the POA. They helped with the marketing and the food, and you guys helped with the money, and it just went together really well. And one of the things that we're pleased about is that we were able to attract outside people to the tournament. This is not strictly a Canyon Lake golf tournament. This is a city championship, so it's open to anybody who wants to come and play. And we did attract over half of our field from outside, so we were pleased about that. And we are looking forward to coming back next year and addressing the council for some more support. But we do really want to thank you for your help this year.
It escapes me.
Where was the champion from? Where? What
Oh,
city?
he was from Canyon Lake.
Oh, that's right.
Brandon Morrow
Yes.
was our city champion, who actually holds our men's golf club club championships, I think 7 out of the last 8 years.
Yeah.
So he's quite a talented, and he grew up, as I understand, he grew up in Canyon Lake, so.
Yeah, yeah, that's what he told me.
He's a fitting representative
Absolutely, it's very
for our
good.
community. Yes, you bet.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
I have one more card. Nancy Horton.
Nancy Horton, EVMWD. On October 22nd, we opened a well in Temescal Valley called the Flagler Well. It's brand new. The property used to be an old county fire station. We purchased the property about 3 years ago, and it took about a year to get the actual well drilled and built with the pumps in place. This is one of 6 projects that we call our near-term projects. They are supposed to be completed in 2 to 3 years. And this is the first one that has been completed. We now have 2 wells called the Barney Lee wells, and there's another one called the Palomar well, which are going to be built using the same system, using the same companies, because we're very pleased with how quickly things came together with this well. These are going to provide a lot of new supply of drinking water. This well used to be an ag line, but now is a drinking water property. And this is to increase our supply, so we'll not be depending so much on imported water. But more importantly, we need more supply because the area is growing. Lake Elsinore is about 60,000 people. It will be 300,000 at build out. So we have to increase our water supply to keep up with the demand. So that's what we're doing. We're very pleased with this first attempt, and we'll be doing more wells and looking for many more opportunities for storage of water. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we're on to the consent calendar.
All items listed on the consent calendar are considered to be routine matters, status reports, or documents covering previous city council action. The items listed on the consent calendar may be enacted in one motion. With the concurrence of the city council, a council member may request that an item be removed for further discussion. Staff recommends approval of all items.
Thank you. Do we have any requests to pull any items?
I move that we approve the consent calendars.
I second it.
Okay, we need a roll call.
Councilmember Bonner?
Yes.
Councilmember Aaron-Kranz?
Yes.
Councilmember Haggerty?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Green?
Yes.
Mayor Warren?
Yes.
Motion carried 5-0 to approve the consent calendar.
Thank you. Schedule of future events? Anything? Oh, well, Saturday, hello. Saturday we have our Veterans Day. Veterans Day falls on a Sunday, observed by many on Monday, but because we had such a great turnout last year when we had it on a Saturday, the committee decided to have it on Saturday. So Saturday the 10th, 10 a.m. And the pilot this year is very dedicated to being on time. 10 a.m. is when they will fly over, not 1 second after. He even sent me the link so I can set my watch to his. And we're expecting quite a show from these guys. And we have a full boat for this program. It's going to be a really, really good program. So I hope to see everybody there. Oh, and the tree lighting is the 24th, which will fall in line with Small Business Saturday.
It'll be at 5 o'clock.
And Jim said he's going to Jim Randall said he's going to provide cookies and champagne all day long. It's not what you said?
Happy event.
All right, maybe not what he said, but anyway, the Small Business Saturday is a fun event, and we'll be closing it off with the tree lighting in the park. Anything else?
One other thing, we have our annual turkey drive.
Okay, the
That
turkey
will
drive.
that will be here. You can drop off your turkeys here Thursday, November 15th between 2 and 4.
Okay.
15?
15.
Yes. Thursday, November 15th between 2 and 4. We'll have the big bins right in front of. Once you come inside, right before you come inside the doors to City Hall, we have those big cardboard bins.
And there will be cookies
Yes.
there. There have been cookies there.
In the past, yes, and I'll confirm that with Mike.
Not Jim's cookies, but somebody's cookies.
Yeah, go. Yeah, I believe they take them frozen because
Frozen?
they pick them up and take them right back and keep them frozen.
Yeah.
So please bring them frozen.
Okay, yes, please.
Also, can I mention in the drive is also not only just the turkeys, but there is a list of things that the families could use in addition to the turkey, dressing and the stuff that you'd normally, so they kind of make up a basket for them. And so all those supplies are picked up and distributed. So really need your help out there. We've really had good turnout in the past, and hopefully this will be even better.
Okay. Thank you. And as always, any future events that we have, meetings and so forth, they're listed on the website. And if there's any additions anybody wants to make, they can send those in, and we'll do that. Give us a call. Okay, we moved items 10.1 and 10.2, so we are moving on to 10.3.
10.3, yes, Madam Mayor, members of the council, before you tonight is either to award a bid or reject all bids with regards to phase 2 of the fence project. That's the fencing along the south side of Railroad Canyon along the golf course there. Staff is recommending, and we've got concurrence from the Finance Committee, and Mayor Pro Tem Green can speak to this as well. We're recommending to reject all bids. The contractor put in actually phases 2 and 3 together, and there were some issues there, and there were also some issues with regards to what panels to replace and what not. And so we feel that that's the best course is to reject all bids, and then we'll go out to bid first of the year to properly do that.
Okay, do we have any discussion, questions?
Need a motion?
Yes.
Yeah, we're just giving direction.
Motion to reject all bids.
Right.
Right.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Okay, 10.4.
10.4, yes, Madam Mayor, members of the council. As in your packet there, we were given notice by our Building and Safety and Engineering and Public Works contractor, Charles Abbott and Associates, that they're terminating our agreement with us. Their last day here will be December 14th. So what I'm looking for the council is direction to go out and secure an interim services that will be able to provide building and safety engineering and public works services for the city. And then next year we'll go out to bid. Hopefully we'll have a permanent contractor on by July 1st.
Any questions, discussions?
Just have one question of the city manager. Do you have anybody in mind at this time now that you're going to be talking with?
Yeah, there were a couple of firms we're looking at. One of them actually is one that does everything in Wildemar and does some Elsinore, Temecula, Menifee. So they're local in the area, so if there are issues that pop up, they told us we could get coverage from them, so that's one of the ones we're looking at.
Okay, good, thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, can I get a motion in a second?
I move we have open it up to look at other open it up to look at other possibilities.
For an interim?
Yes.
For interim services,
Yes.
interim building and safety engineering and public
Right.
works services.
Right.
Okay, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, we're on to 11, city manager comments.
I was just going to mention the tree lighting and the turkey drive, which we did under that. So yes, with the tree lighting again, we think it's going to be a great event. We're going to do it again with Small Business Saturday. It'll be 5 o'clock out at Veterans Park.
Okay, so we have council member comments. Councilmember Bonner?
Well, first of all, I'd like to congratulate the new council members, Jeremy and Casey, and welcome. Put your seatbelt on because it's going to be running right fast. I went to the RCTC Riverside Commission, Transportation Commission, and part of the good news was that Proposition number 6 was not repealed, so we having to be able to do the exchange is just clear. We got the money to do that now, so that's really good news because we certainly need it in Lake Elsmer. I just want to mention that the Special Enforcement Group of the City of Canyon Lake, we did a cleanup at the BLM area, and they had pictures at the public safety meeting on Monday, And the amount of things that they found, it's amazing how much people have thrown out there, dumped out, actually dump it out there. That's what they use it for. And I asked if it was anybody homeless, something like that, and they said, no, there's none of that at all. But they left concrete and just goes on and on and on. So they really did a nice job, and we appreciate that. That's it.
Councilmember Aaron Krantz?
Thank you. And once again, certainly, I'm sure this will be repeated a few times this evening, but welcome to the new council members. We're all looking forward to working with you, and we certainly have always appreciated working with the present council members. So I want to thank them as well for all the good times that I've had serving with them. And with that said, let's see, at the beginning of October, I had my SCAG meeting, and at that time, it seems like the meetings are getting a little shorter, as evidenced here tonight, I think, but most of the conversation in the committee that I served on was talking about capturing stormwater and runoff water and recycling that rather than have it just go into the gutter and out into the ocean. And there's an awful lot of expensive ways to do that. And they're going to be coming to, I say the committee from SCAG will be visiting, I do believe, all the cities to help them implement a system of some type, depending on, of course, the geography of our city, I attended 3 WCE meetings along with our city manager. He's part of that committee now, and I'm sorry that Barbara Spoonhauer left before I could put her on the spot, because she can still explain this a lot better than I can. It's in a state of infancy right now. There's a lot of questions to be asked as to why we would seek power from somebody other than right now Southern California Edison. The Edison company would always be involved. Their transmission lines would be used regardless of who we purchase additional power from. But none of this has been confirmed yet. There are 5, 6 cities that have come on board, but every one of them has a question still, including ourselves. So I think before the end of the year, which is our obligation to sign up with them, we'll have a better understanding of what it is that we are going to be doing with this program. I'm sorry, my Vector meeting only consisted of hiring a new manager. The Major Dillon, who's been with Vector for, 30-some years, is retiring at the end of the year. And he's world renowned. I had no idea some of the things that he was capable of doing or does do. But in-house, we hired a gentleman who was here a couple of times making presentations. Bill, his last name escapes me. I'm ashamed because I'm going to have to learn how to remember it, I think. In any event, he's very talented, and he's going to serve the committee well. And perhaps he can catch some flies at also, we were, along with our mayor and my wife and a few other people, we were honored to be judges at the Parade of Frights. And that's a very difficult job, but we got through it okay. We had a couple of Veterans Day meetings that are going well, and we're certainly in good hands. Our chairperson, Mayor Warren, is doing a great job, and it's all come together, and we're even going to have a rehearsal on Friday. I mean, that's how sophisticated this has gotten. I had one last meeting yesterday or Monday at WRCOG, And I don't know whose thunder I'm stealing here, but I've got an email from a friend of mine who brought it over to me last night. It says construction will soon begin to widen Railroad Canyon Road between Grape Street and Canyon Hills Road, starting November 2018.
Yeah.
So I imagine somebody else is gonna report on that, but, because this is a 2-page email and you don't want to hear all that from me at this time. And with that, I think that concludes my report, so thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Haggerty?
Okay, congratulations to both of you. I couldn't be happier. I think it's great. Young new blood, that's what the city needs. I just wanted to, well, I attended the RTA meeting beginning of the last month, and the end of the month I went to Salt Lake City for my grandson's wedding, so I missed the regular general meeting, but I attended the budget meeting this morning, and that'll be a really nice committee for one of you two to get involved in. They're wonderful people, amazing organization. Anyway, when I ran for city council, I ran on, the reason I ran was because the city was going bankrupt, and it seemed to me like somebody needed to figure out a way to save money, not just keep pulling money out of reserves. So I spent 2 months working on a plan for the city to form its own police department. I met with 2 different police chiefs from similar cities. They each developed a plan within a couple $1,000s of each other. They were very similar, and talked with our general manager from the POA, who was very excited about being included and able to cancel possibly part of their security, refund money to the people, because they could save, at that point, it was 4 years ago, it was over $1 million they would be able to save. And they would just man the gates and the Marine Patrol, and the city police would circulate throughout instead of having one deputy in the daytime and one for part of the night. There would be 2 round-the-clock, 24/7 patrols. It was very well received by the POA, and I brought that with me when I was elected, and the council has been working for 4 years on doing something about that. Unfortunately, when I got on the council, we were in a mess with our fire department, and we really had to get that sorted out. So the police went to the back burner, and that finally came to fruition. And now we have been working on a police department or a JPA with another city. And I really, it's the only reason I hate to leave, because I'd really like to be a part of that, but otherwise, it's all good. Anyway, I went to the Menifee council meeting. I had met with their mayor and with 3 of their council people, and I went to their meeting and I spoke in behalf of Canyon Lake that we would really be interested. This meeting they held was a special meeting for the council to approve their creating their own city police department. And coincidentally, Tom Hicks, who was the consultant that we hired to do our consulting plan, they used the same consultant. And he has all of our numbers, and I pointed that out. I met afterwards with the city manager and then with all of the council people, and they're very excited about including Canyon Lake. One of the council members feels they should do their plan first and then talk about us. The others agree that it's kind of a waste of time and money. It would be easier, since they have our numbers, to just plug them in and include us in the beginning. So we'll see how that goes, but I'm really excited about that, because the Securitas, or well, what I guess that's the name, the company now that they're using, I'm not sure, the POA, Their contract is $7 million for 3 years. It was $2 million 4 years ago. And I spoke with Eric, and he is very interested in their getting involved. I'm really excited about this, so I'm hoping that the council can move forward with this in the near future, and I see a huge advantage for Canyon Lake, a great benefit. It's a win-win for everybody. We would have possibly even 3 cars at this point if the POA was to cooperate with us money-wise. We could possibly have 3 cars 24/7, and that's a lot better. The police we have, I'm not bad-mouthing them. They do a great job, but it's one deputy, and they can only do so much. So we've had very limited coverage at times, and this would solve a lot of problems, and it would give everybody more security. And if you saw a house being robbed, you could call and the police would be there. You wouldn't have to call and wait for somebody to come from Paris or wherever. So I'm just really excited about that. I just had to share it with everybody. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Green?
Okay. Congrats to our 2 new candidates. You've heard it. You probably get it one more time, plus many others. But again, congratulations. My month is a little different in that been very busy. A lot of things have happened. But on a light note, we as the city of Canyon Lake for the for Riverside County League of Cities, we won the golf tournament this year. So of all the cities that were there was about a field of 150, and they were all broken up in teams, and we represented the city, and little known to us, we came out on top. So we'll have the plaque. It will be posted so that everyone can see. We get to keep it for a year, and then if we win it again, it comes back. If not, it goes to the next city. Went to Assemblyman Melissa Melenders' town hall meeting, which she has pretty frequent. And what she usually does is really a good thing. She comes here once in a while. She's got one coming up in Lake Elsinore. But she usually covers all the bills, legislation, things that are passed, things that are pending. And she calls it the book, Good, Bad, and Ugly. Well, I won't go through all of them, but I will tell you there are some that is very concerning, some that are very good. One is they've passed, it's been signed into law. They're now looking at new ways to further research ways to tax drivers on mileage they drive and roadway use. That's called a roadway use tax. It is solely driven by number of miles. It is somewhat, as you can see if you live in the inland areas, which we all do, and if you commute to work in Orange County or San Diego or LA, you're going to have a lot higher mileage than they do in San Francisco and in the big metropolitan areas. Quite a few laws were passed and signed by the governor referencing crimes. One that really strikes out is young men, women that are 14 or 15 who commit robbery, rape, or murder will no longer be tried as adults. Also, one on, and apparently the gangs are using them, kids that are 12 and under who commit crimes will no longer be allowed in the courts to prosecute for dealing. So it was quite informative, and as you can see, most all of us went, wow. She says it only gets better. We had the RCA meeting. The RCA is a regional conservation authority, which we represent, are represented on it. We just put out our annual report. We have just about acquired 60,000 acres that are for conservatory purposes. That means for the travel of animals and birds and everything else that's in our region. We're going to do, the city of Canyon Lake is also going to do a CERT class that's for our residents, and that'll be held in March. I attended the Temecula Valley Legislative Summit. The city manager and I got quite a bit of information. Had a discussion with our Congressman Calvert. specifically on a couple of things. One was SAFER Grant. We've applied for a SAFER Grant, which is, for those who don't know, it's a way of funding emergency, sometimes emergency responders. There's different types of SAFER grants. Well, the good news is we've made the first and second cut. So it's in the hopper. If that does come about, that will have a significant boost to us. It's a 3-year grant with significant dollars attached to it. As any grant, we're in competition with the rest of the country, but because Calvert is and is very well respected, has gone to bat for us. So that's looking positive. And the last thing I'd like to say is I'm on the Finance Committee. We haven't done the audit yet. But if our numbers stay the same for this year, our revenues have gone up, not revenues, but reserves have gone up significantly, and our budget, we're about 2% under for the year we closed. Still has to be done on an audit, but from a standpoint of a city, looking at the expenses and how important our committees are, which you will be part of soon, it just shows how we try to manage our resources, our projects, and try to make the best we can with what we have. So with that ends my little 2 minutes.
I have quite a few things, but while committees have been mentioned a couple of times, when talking to, and I don't think I mentioned it to Jeremy, but talking to Casey, it would be great if they could get a copy of the committee assignments right now to start mulling over, because when you're brand new and you're sitting here, all of a sudden you're hit with this stuff, and none of it makes any sense. So at least they can look up the acronyms and figure out what they are. But so City has your email addresses, correct? Yep. Okay, so if you could get those.
Yeah, I'll get to them, and actually, I'm meeting with each one of them individually.
Perfect. Okay, the first thing I want to say, other than congratulations, which I already said, so I don't need to repeat myself, but, I do want to say the one thing I don't think anybody has really touched on tonight is Measure S. I have a lot of little things I want to talk about, but I want to say right away what a monumental success that was. The campaign was a success. Larry Green and Vicki Warren, if I do say so myself, really pushed to get that out there. As a candidate, it was touchy for me, but and it was constant for me. But we did well, and it ensures that we have a little bit of room to start looking at some of these other possibilities. And I just want to say, if we can have a round of applause for the city, and something was extremely difficult to do. Never like to tax people because it's such an ugly word, but we did it, and we did it well.
And for the people that voted.
75, almost 76%, by the way. And we'll see by Friday it'll change. If in case anybody doesn't know, the registrar has a whole bunch of thousands, literally thousands of votes that they're still counting. So by Friday they promised that they would release this and we would have accurate numbers. But I want to mention that their open enrollment for Covered California, for anybody out there who wants to do that, started 10/15, it ends 1/15, so you still have plenty of time, but you've got to get it in there. Animal Friends of the Valley, we had a meeting. The costs will have to go up because of minimum wage. We had formed an ad hoc committee so that 2 of our members could talk to the Animal Friends and see if there were ways to possibly whittle some of that down. There just isn't. This is not a service organization that you can put a little machine in. It's not a kiosk. You have to have people there. So unfortunately, those costs are going to have to come in to be absorbed, which kind of ties into that item that we discussed that is going to go on the January, the end result of that is the only way to make sure that this doesn't keep happening and that we don't keep going out of whack. So move the I-15, $1.5 million option of maybe improving some of the roadway, but it would take from beginning to end 7 years. 7 years. And that's not adding lanes, because of course we don't do that. Caltrans has an unwritten mandate that they will not add lanes anywhere, and the Caltrans representatives don't mind saying that. So They won't add lanes, but what they will do is they call it I think it's called a pass-through. It's got, I can't remember the word, but there's an alternate lane that comes in, and it's coming from one entrance to an exit, and then that lane stays that way, and it's supposed to get everybody up to speed so it doesn't make these slowdowns. $1.5 million, 7 years. That's crazy. Went to the Wildemar State of the City. They're doing well. They got their VLF fees back, so they're doing quite well. It's very good. Interesting presentation there. I do need to make a correction on the Menifee meeting. It was not a city council meeting. It was a workshop where they were presenting to the public the options that they had been given. Tonight is when it goes before the city council there. They have not built us in. They are, of course, looking to the side of us, but there's some resistance on the council to add Canyon Lake in right away. But that's only because they need to get their other feet under them first. But they are considering. Tonight is the night, so send silent prayers out to the city council in Menifee, because this is the night that now they've taken the workshop's suggestions, they're bringing it to the council to decide whether they want to go forward with their, Aaron was there too, and I spoke and let them know that we're closely on the tail of what they're doing. I did have a conference call with the White House last week that talked about we have a lack of qualified workers, 6.7 million jobs open right now, but we don't have qualified workers to fill them. So the White House has a task force. They've put a laser focus on this problem, and they're doing internships and they're doing apprenticeships, and they're trying to get as many people out there. They're focusing on small businesses, home run, or even in the stores, that kind of thing. And the SBA has a lot of assistance that they want to offer. Now, I was given a direct contact to the White House for this, and I will, since I'm leaving y'all, get my own life back. I'm going to give that to Aaron, and he'll have it there, so that if anybody's interested, and I strongly encourage anybody who wants to start a business to call and contact. I mean, it is a direct line. Might as well use the pipeline we've got. And I think that is all I have for my comments. The only other announcement we have is next meeting is December 5th. And that's it. Do we have any other? Hearing none, seeing none? All right, we're adjourned at 7:27. Yes.
We had about this right Friday before.